Okay, I don't know what's going on with this camera, but anyway, this is the second video that I'm going to work on today. Probably be a whole lot shorter because, I don't know, people. I am like, okay, I'm going to go get that highs and I'm going to fill up the jars. I'm just going to keep doing. I get my delivery of my lamb and everything right tonight, so I have to pull out my pots again. I just put my pots away. Now I'm gonna have to pull them back out, but I'm an opportunist, and I said I wanted to do the lamb just like I wanted to do the duck, but we're going to do the lamb. We still have to do the fish skins, and we know what we're going to do with the lamb with the last video that I just did. And I don't feel like I'm being irresponsible. Yada yada. If I had a problem with fucking cleaning, I wouldn't be able to do all this canning and all this crap that I do in a damn day. And I'm very irritated with this subliminal messaging and how these social workers are trying to scandalize me so that they can justify doing whatever the hell it is that they do, to the point where it makes me just want to walk the fuck out. Walk away. Walk away. Because I'm dealing with that man that wants to use, now, I guess, the fabric. Oh, your stuff, because like you need to clear out the rooms at this meeting, right? You need to clear out the rooms. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. And you got looking at thousands of dollars worth of fabric and vintage fucking clothing. Like, I already showed you one dress that was worth $1,000, and you just want me to do what with it? What? For the room to sit empty because you refuse to listen to what we're saying to you. Okay, and I know they're watching my videos, people, because they're coming in with the cue. Where do you think, oh, well, you can get a lawyer came from? Well, because they're listening to my videos. That's why. Because I'm talking about, well, I might have to go get a fucking lawyer. And the only way I can afford a lawyer is if I do something like OnlyFans or something dumb like that. Because that would be the only reason I would do it. Okay? Because a legal aid lawyer isn't going to cut it. I can tell you that right now. Been there, done that. So, okay, what? You offer to have somebody come in, you're professional, certified, whatever, pack up my shit and put it in storage. What good is it going to do for me and Andre sitting up in storage? And if it's a cold storage, you might as well kiss all that shit goodbye, because it's going to get mildewy, and once it becomes mildewy, it's going to mold. All right? And even if it's a warm storage, for how long would it be in storage? And it's not going to stop with that, because it will be something else. Because clearly they're on a mission to implode me. Maybe not the house, because once I'm gone, guess what happens? Everybody gets to fight. Fight! Oh, who gets Amari? Yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to see who's going to step up to the plate. Apparently, Marina already told Andre that if Tisha doesn't do it, her and Marcane will take Amari.
And me.
Oh, and Andre. But I have to walk away, people, for that to happen, or die. One or the other. Otherwise, they're going to bankrupt me. They're going to take away gainful opportunities. I don't want to call it employment, because it's not employment. But if Andre can make 30% on the dollar selling a $1,000 dress and learn from that experience what he's capable of doing from one dress, okay, who gives complete strangers that are 26 years old, 22, 28, in around that age, right, the right to make that decision where we can't do it, and then expect me to pay the extras that I pay out as they come in? Oh, $2,250, $2,150 to $2,150 to my landlord for a bunch of bullshit to wipe out the yard of everything that I own. And now we've got the social workers in the house wiping out a bulk of what I own, where it might just help me to pay down the bills a little bit and get Andre hooked on math. Yeah, right? Yeah, right? To get a really good handle on it. Learn financial literacy, how to build a business, whether online, offline, however, gain confidence, have self-esteem go up, right? They don't want that, people. No, they want their crew to come in here and pack it all up for me and put it somewhere. Or give it away. give it to Marina. Put it on the street. Put it in a garbage can. Get rid of it. Doesn't matter what you do. And then expect me to put Amari in his room by himself. But I'm allowed to sleep in there with him. Not Andre, though. Oh, no. Andre's got to be in his own room. Who are they to tell us what to do when they're not the ones dealing with the situation that we have? We have special circumstances that require whatever it is that we do to have that heart of steel. Okay. They're putting everybody at risk in this house. And it's almost like I have to walk away from it all in order for it to iron itself out as everybody figures out what's the next stage. So what? Do I walk to the border and cross over as a political refugee and then start putting an application over stateside to get my grandkids to come over to the States with me under political prosecution? It's all legislation, right? Based on what these women have to say, right? Or do I wander off into a bush like that 18-year-old boy did and disappeared? He left the house with a pair of shorts on, said, I'll be right back, never came back, disappeared for a month, and they found him dead, sitting up at the Delta Ravine. Yeah. Should I just go wander off to Delta Ravine and find a tree and plant myself there and wait for the inevitable to happen and somebody can wander by in a month or two and find my body? Is that what I should do? Or should I just hit the road like a hobo? You know, pack up my little bag with my few little clothes so I don't freeze to death. Because if you notice, we're going into the winter time. They like to mess with you when it's cold outside, when there's snow outside. They kicked me out of my house, 5 dependent kids in 2003 in the middle of winter, January 1st, okay? What did they do with Sierra in the middle of winter, December 11th? What did they do? They kicked her out into the snow, disconnected her from her medication, from her home, from her son, from her family support system, knowing that if she didn't get the medication, it was just a matter of time before she turned into a fucking junkie. Is that what I should do? Hit the road? Where am I walking to? Alberta? Hitchhike? End up like a native woman, snuffed out on the highway 16, just disappear like a native, because they're treating me like worse than the natives, for crying out loud. This is bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. I am scared to do responsible freaking things. What is the point of making collagen, whether it's from lamb, turkey bones, freaking chicken claws, fish skin, which is all expensive, if I'm expected to throw it out to one degree or another? Because it won't stop with the 2 fucking rooms. It will never be enough with them. Because it's a power thing. So if that's the case, take away the power, just walk out. Because I don't need my son screaming, oh, you just want to worry about your stuff. Well, I don't know. You only ruined $30,000, $40,000 worth of stuff since you moved in, a girl. And now you want me to throw out another $30,000, $40,000 worth of stuff, and for what? For these women to come back in a month from now, 2 months, 2 years from now, a year from now, and start the whole fucking process all over again, as you're all pointing the finger at me saying it's all my fault, even though I'm the one doing the damn daily grind? And then you want to accuse me of not fucking cleaning? Yeah, okay. You come to wash the laundry. Wait till you get Amari. Then come talk to me. After 7 years of doing that daily damn grind and still have the stamina to do it as people are attacking you left, right, and center like you're freaking dead and they're vultures just picking at your skin trying to eat you. Or if you're alive, they're trying to eat you alive. So you might as well get on the fucking highway and keep on walking. Let them eat each other for all that they know and think that they own. Like, it's bullshit. Totally bullshit. I shouldn't feel bad for jarring up what I'm jarring people. This stuff can sit for years. Whether I'm alive or not, somebody else can benefit from it. And I'd like to think it would be my family. But there's parts of my family that are so broken because of these stupid bitches that come in saying, let us help. Well, hell, they didn't even tell Sierra that they were going to help her. And what little help that they offered her was nothing more than a carrot that they waved in her face, because that wasn't the agenda. The agenda was to keep her out in the streets for 8 years, pimped out. That was the agenda, because that was the help that they gave her. They left her out there. And they made it so I couldn't help her. And what help I gave her, it wasn't enough. Because they broke her spirit. They put her in a dangerous position that she couldn't get out of. And that's what they're trying to do with me. You want me to stay in high debt load? Is that it? You want me to lose everything so you can come back and say you don't have enough to look after Amari? You want me to go bankrupt so I can't afford to live anywhere else after it's all said and fucking done? So if I'm going to end up fucking homeless because of you and your kind, I might as well hit the fucking road and you guys can settle the matter as to who gets Amari, because you know if Andre doesn't want to be around, he's bolting. He's going to someplace else. You guys aren't going to fucking find him. Mercane, well, where's Andre? Well, I don't know. He bolted. Why? Because he misses his Nana. He misses his life. He had dreams. Those girls, those women, if you want, whatever you want to call them, social workers, they robbed him of everything. Like, it's bullshit. I'm sitting here and I'm like, should I run? Should I run? Where am I running to? Highway 16 is that's dangerous. You're just asking to be murdered. Oh, yeah. I have a better chance crossing the border, sneaking in through the bushes. Find myself a guide. Yeah. All I have to do is go out in the fucking streets. Go next door. Find somebody that can take me to the fucking border where I can cross over. Maybe help me just to get there to the other side safely. Safely, because I'm not safe here, people. Nothing is safe here. For me, that is. For me. And then Marina and Marquette can come upstairs and go nuts. Go freaking nuts. You only been egging for it anyway. So what difference does it make whether I'm around or not? Yeah, pretty much. Because if I gotta sit there and listen that, oh, I'm holding up the program. I'm holding up because I don't want to give away this and I don't want to throw out that and I don't want to and I don't want to. Well, then you're gonna lose Amari. Well, then, if that's the case, I might as well fucking leave. At least he'll have his family with him. He won't have his Nana, but he'll have his family with him. And they can fight over him. Will the real person that cares about him step up to the plate? I'd like to see who fucking does that. But I won't be around to see it. And we already know God knew what he was doing when he made Andre. So I know Andre's got Amari's back. Yeah. The only thing is these people are not going to be able to contact me. Because I don't run around with a cell phone thinking I'm all big and bad and smart. I'll be on the other side of the border. That, to me, that seems the safest bet. And that's assuming that I can get over there safely without being murdered, lured to my death. Because you know I got the stalkers in the community. Yeah, following me. Yeah. Oh, she's going to the eye doctor. We'll just put in a bunch of drops in there to really make her eyes sting and screw her over just a little bit more so that when she goes home, her eyes are worse than what she was when she went to the eye doctor. Yeah. Okay. We know how that one rolls. Right. When you did your little roto-rooter shit, all of a sudden everything became permanently freaking blurry. It hasn't changed since. And now it's worse since the last time I was there. And they want to do maybe surgery. Yeah, okay, sure. As if I would survive that. I'd rather die a free fucking bird than a locked up bird, that's for sure. Yeah. So I'm like seriously crashing here. But it's okay. You know, it's nothing new under this house. This is part and parcel of it. Just, it is what it is. It's been like that ever since I moved in because it was a house that was targeted with energy weapons from the moment I freaking moved in. With all the outlets sparking. All the pipes leaking. So you can't be surprised. With the porch rotten. Yeah. Everything else is secondary. I do this one 2 times a day. And I did it yesterday, and yeah, but that's okay. I push past the pain. Well, who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares about this shit? And it's a bottle that's hard to squeeze. And because this one makes me tired, he says I'm supposed to hold my tear ducts and hold my eye back so it doesn't go into my nasal passage and get absorbed into my bloodstream real fast to try and prevent me from getting tired. As if. And of course I'm trying to be, I'm trying to use it, right? Because I don't want surgery. Because I probably wouldn't survive. There you go, problem solved, I'm dead. Oh, aren't you guys just all happy now? Happy-go-luckies. Social workers become real important. They get to figure out who gets Amari. Wow. I guess you earned your paycheck then, right? And because you got everybody on freaking panic mode, whatever you bark at them, they'll say, yes, master. No problem, master. And then when the reality kicks in, and they find out that they're being gang-stalked because of Amari, because they won't be able to use Andre by that time, because he'll be too old and unimportant, right? Once they turn a certain age, those kind of people just drop those kids. They just drop them. What do you think goes next door at James' house? A bunch of foster kids that complain about there's no services for them. Yeah, because I've already talked to a few of them. Anywhere between the ages of 17 and 19. Yeah. Hanging out at a freaking booze can. Go figure. And they're foster kids. Because there's no services for them. Yeah, okay. And what services there are? Well, go to Creekside Recovery Center. There's your service. Go to the Youth Food Bank. There's your service. Yeah, okay. Have a bunch of people sit around you and tell you what you're supposed to do with your life and then turn around and walk away and leave you there with nothing, basically, except maybe a bit of chump change. There's your services. Yeah, okay. We know how it rolls, right? I'm just saying, don't try and make a bloody mountain over a little molehill when it comes to quote-unquote services. Yeah, right. So anyway, I'm going to do what I'm going to do knowing that I might end up losing it all. And that's why I'm angry, because I don't know, people. Honestly, I don't have the stamina to start up with court shit, but You know, I can't see myself homeless, fighting the good fight, trying to do court papers with sleeping on the streets. Because I don't think I'd feel comfortable being in no damn shelter. No, because I don't trust them, because, you know, I've been through all that shit with Sierra, so it's not like I would trust the process any more than I trust even the streets for that matter. So I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. Maybe I should go to the States. I said a long time ago, maybe I should go to the States as a political refugees. Because they're treating me like I don't know what they're treating me like. I just know that this is not right. You can't ask somebody to get rid of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of crap just because you want to prove a point, because that's all it is. That's all it is. Do you you know, if my son and his wife wouldn't have done what they did by locking me out of the basement, throwing all my shit out for years and years and years, my room would not be a pantry today. It just wouldn't be, but I had to make a choice. And so I decided, okay, fine, I'll get rid of the clothes, I'll get rid of the fabric, and I'll turn into the pantry so I don't have to bother them downstairs, knowing that there's stuff downstairs that I maybe can get to, but probably not. And, you know, I would prefer to have it, you know, just be free, right? You know, right? Andre goes, he gets what he wants, and it's not a problem. If I want, I know where it is, but I have to empty out my room. And they're punishing me for that. They're punishing me for trying to make plans to get the hell out of this house, to work my way out, to pay down the bills, to you know, to maintain on the daily grind of whatever that grind is, whether it's financial, like paying my landlord shit money that I don't even get a receipt for after I lose everything that I owned basically in the yard and including in the shed. Because don't forget, my son wiped out the shed, and what was in the shed used to be in the basement. So that's why it jumps up to like 20 grand, 30 grand. It's not a joke. And now we're getting into hardcore shit here. Where's that dress? Now we're getting into hardcore shit here. You want to put this stuff in fucking storage, and for what purpose? So what? You throw around the certified packer. We'll have our certified packers come in. You can trust them. Yeah, right. I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I better take this in case I gotta go to court. I can show the judge. This is the shit that they're throwing it out. They're wanting me to get rid of. This is the stuff that they expect me just to give away for free and nothing. So Andre can sit and look at a room and still not want to be in there. Or maybe what? Who's going to put Amari? You going to come put Amari? Well, you might as well take Amari away, because we're not going to lock him up in there by himself. Hell no. Hell no. I just found him not even 10 minutes, half an hour ago? And within a space of less than 10 minutes, he literally ripped out his diaper from under the freaking pull-up, and he was playing with it. It's really a good thing that he wasn't full of poop. There was a little bit in there, but not a whole lot. But still, I completely wipe him down like 2-3 times with Irish Spring soap and water. Yeah, like, you know, change all the blankets and everything. Wipe things down. Take off the freaking cushion seat. You know, don't talk to me about I don't fucking clean. Like, shut the hell up. Like, seriously, shut the fuck up. I clean so much, I work so hard that I'm worn out, but I keep doing it anyway because I love my family. But these people, they don't care about that. They don't care about no love. Hell no, they're waiting for the hardcore winter to set in so they can really put the fire under your feet and then force you out into the snow. Yeah. Because why? I didn't empty out the bedroom? Yeah, okay. 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 You gonna take Amari and give him to Mark Kane downstairs? Okay. Okay. What? You're gonna take Amari and give him to Tisha? She's pregnant. She doesn't have enough room as it is. Well, as if she's gonna want to take Amari. Okay. Oh, I know. You can put him in foster care, and the foster care parent can get $4,000 a month to put him in a fucking crib with a metal cage and that padding, a feeding tube, and a baby monitor. When they aren't giving him quality care and a little bit of attention, when they're taking him to the doctors, and then he dies. Yeah, and then he dies. And then they close the file and they tell the family to F off, because there's no tool that they can use anymore, because by that time, Andre will be so resentful, he'll never frickin' forgive them for as long as he lives. Yeah. 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 Here, let's just go throw this in the bedroom so that when they come in with their crew, they can just grab it and pretend like they don't know what it is. And it will just mysteriously disappear like an Uncle John. Yeah. A little deja vu of Andre just up and disappear. Okay, it's called Highway of Tears. So I have two choices. I can either walk out the door and go look for Highway of Tears and walk on that road with my thumb out. Where I'm going, I don't know. Probably to try and get away from the big city. So I'd be going the opposite direction. Usually women are trying to get out of the small towns up in the interior to come to the big city for better opportunities, yada yada yada, and they get murdered. And that's why it's called the Highway of Tears. And because they're native women, they get no justice! Right? You know how it rolls? This is Canada, the new Congo. Murray likes that crap. Or I can go next door, pay somebody to drive me to the border where it's kind of bushy, but not too far from civilization so I don't get eaten by a cougar. Because you know I can't go through the gate. I have to sneak in, okay? Because I'm a refugee, all right? I'm a political freaking asylum seeker. Yeah. And then plug into those resources and see if I can find some lawyers, to help me fill out the applications so I can get my grandkids out of this rotten, stinking freaking country. Someplace maybe where they will be safe. Assuming that they aren't snatched up by the good old social workers and put into foster care into a metal crib, caged in and locked in like a baby monkey. Those monkey babies. Remember I told you? Take the little baby away from the mommy and then put it in a tube so the monkey baby can't move, so that when the mummy, the human mummy wants to play with the baby monkey, can let the baby monkey out of the tube for a little while and run around and, oh, do you like my little baby monkey? And my little baby monkey's so cute. This little baby monkey is so profitable. It makes me so much money because it's so unique. And then when they're tired of the baby monkey, what do? They put it back in the freaking tube. Put it back in the metal cage. And when we're done with them, the baby monkey just mysteriously disappears or dies, one or the other. They don't care. They don't care after they get whatever it is that they get while they had it for that moment in a tube. Or they all can fight between themselves. Tisha, Marcane, the social workers, whoever can fight, figure out who's going to get Amari. They can do what they want with this place because I'm in the States now, or I'm on the Highway of Tears. One or the other. One or the other. It's either that or die in this house, people, through this stress, through this bullshit. Yeah. Go completely bankrupt. And then, if I'm going in that direction, I might as well just walk away and start a new fucking fight. But don't fight by myself out here with corrupt lawyers, corrupt judges, corrupt government, corrupt public union sector workers. Everything is corrupt. Take it to a new jurisdiction. Take it to a new country. Be brave. Stand up for something. If I get murdered out there in the streets, so be it. That was my destiny. Yeah, because I'll get murdered out here. Right? Yeah, that's it. The Highway of Tears or it's the border. Which one? Which one would you choose? And for the record, I'm not bonkers. I'm serious. Because if I was bonkers, I just wouldn't have spent $230 on lamb, basically, and seasoning broths, soup stocks, that kind of thing, that can last for years and years and years and years and years and years and years in a nice, beautiful, sealed jar, whether I'm here or not. Where that food that's in the jar when it comes to the lamb and the lamb collagen after the fact of cooking up the bones. Anyone that's bonkers Sure in the hell couldn't do that, okay? U.S. people, the customs or whatever the hell they're called, or whatever, embassy or whatever, they can't force me back to Canada when everybody's stealing from me. Yeah? Threatening me. Yeah? Intimidating me. Insulting me. Humiliating me. Pushing me closer and closer to homelessness. They can't force me back to Canada. Hell no. What do I got to look forward to? Nothing. Nothing. I got nothing to look forward to in this country. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. I don't think I did this one. Did I do this one? I don't remember. I'm supposed to do this too, right? I put in this I don't know if I'm supposed to put it. I do anyway. Because this one always sits at 40. The doctor is surprised that it doesn't ache. He says when it starts hurting more. Here. He says when it starts hurting more, he wants to take it out. But he makes my eyes hurt. So, as if. It's okay, I'll deal with it. What he did is he hurt the good one. That's what he did. Yeah. That's the one that's hurting. It's been hurting ever since I seen him. But yeah, no, they can't force me back. I'd run away again. Yeah, I'd be too afraid. I'm too afraid to be here. What for? To be robbed. Yeah. It just doesn't stop. It just doesn't fucking stop. Everybody in Canada seems to think that they can just take other people's property and do what they want with it. Yeah. And if they can't get their way, they start threatening you. Yeah. And for what? To end up homeless with nothing. Right? And then be called a nothing and be treated like you're nothing so they can justify abusing you even more. It's just one big spiral down. That's it. That's all it is. Right? There is no looking after the elderly and respecting the elderly and caring for the elderly anymore. And I'm not using me per se as an example because I honestly don't feel like I'm the elderly, even though I've been told at 63 I'm starting to become the elderly by some people's eyes. Other people seem to think I'm 20 years old and dumb, but like my neighbor, she's 70 or 75, one or the other, I can't remember. 75, I think she's pushing on 75, I don't know. I just know that she's older than me, quite a bit really. And she's being pushed out onto the streets with no place to go as soon as they kick her out of that house because of this building shit. Yeah, well, you've got the Punjabis knocking on your door calling you garbage because you don't work. And I'm not lying because that's what that dude with that building over there that's polluting all the land around here as he's digging everything up, bragging to his friends how he's such a hard worker as he's already targeting households. And oh, you're white? Oh, you're this? Oh, well, then you're trash. You don't work. You're lazy. You deserve what you got because your forefathers 100 years ago kept my people out on a boat. So therefore, 100 years later, we're going to stick it to you. Yeah, you sure did stick it to me when you had that Punjabi guy come with his turban on. Get rid of everything. Get rid of everything. I don't care what it is. It's just get rid of everything in the yard. I don't care. Get rid of everything. With Mrs. Gill making sure it happened. Yeah, okay. So I mean, people can steal whatever Rhea got away with it. My son and his wife got away with it. With all the shit that they destroyed. Used and abused, threw out, sold, gave away, who knows. It's all gone though. The rest of it's just all mixed up. And now we got the social workers going in for the kill. Yeah, going for the expensive stuff. Going for the expensive stuff now. So they can come back at a sooner or later date, whatever date, doesn't matter. You know they're coming back with a bigger and badder attitude. And they'll wipe you out. They'll wipe you out. They're already wiping me out. They've been wiping me out. They wiped me out of my daughters. They interrupted the growth of my grandson. And now they're using that against him. Yeah. And now that he can actually get a handle on the math, once we start doing what we're going to do, they're taking that away from him. And critical reading skills and language skills and business skills and management skills and people skills, all of it. They're taking it all away for power tripping. Yeah. Oh, and Andre said he doesn't like that noise either because Amari was doing it again. I said, Amari, stop. I don't like that noise. Andre goes, I don't like that noise either. It's a scary noise because you can't distinguish whether he's starting to sound like Donald Duck when he can get to a Donald Duck state with it. He sounds like actual Donald Duck. But before he gets to the Donald Duck octave, he sounds like he might be like choking. Oh my God. But he's playing with his mouth. Right? And he thinks it's funny. It's not funny. I told Andre, when you hear him do it, just tell him to stop. Say no. Be firm. He understands the word no and he understands the word stop. It's just sometimes you have to, get a little firm with it and kind of raise your voice just a tad just to get him to pay attention. Because we don't want to encourage that noise. No. That's a scary noise because if something really did happen, like with the diaper, I think he's okay. I just checked on him 10 minutes ago. He was fine. And then I hear this odd noise that's slightly different because he was putting it near his face, right? And he was smelling it. So he was making a different kind of noise. And I heard that noise and I went, and, oh my God. And I grabbed it. I said, what is this? It is a sopping wet soaked diaper. Like if you were to pull a tablecloth out from underneath a table full of dishes, and all the dishes, the glasses, everything is all exactly where it's supposed to be, except the tablecloth is gone, because he's my little Houdini baby. That's what he did with the diaper. The pull-up was on, and he took the other pants that were over the pull-up. He took those off too. So he took off the little pants that were over the pull-up, and then he stuck his hands underneath the pull-up, ripped his diaper apart where he could actually pull it out. And then he was playing with it. And I heard a slightly different kind of noise, went to check on him, and now I got a big pile of laundry. As I'm being accused of not cleaning. Okay, this is not trivialist here either. Like, don't think that I'm just talking hot air. I am talking hot air. I'm blowing off steam. I'm trying to feel good about what I'm doing for, whatever I'm doing. Like the spices and stuff, obviously, whether I'm alive or not, it will benefit down the line, right? And the ones that are stupid after I'm dead want to throw it out. Well, stupidity begets stupidity. If you want to be that stupid and everything runs out of here, there, you can't buy it no more. Just mark my words. You might not be able to buy it no more, so if you happen to find it in my food pantry, be grateful that I took the time to take it out of this and put it in a jar so that it can sit for like 20 years or more because of the salt. I'm just saying. This one is fine inside, I can tell, because you can hear it, right? So it never got, the carton itself, the cardboard never absorbed any moisture. So therefore, why it is that way, even after all this time, which is about 15 years old. I don't want to open it, though, until I'm pretty sure I have 1 or 2 or 3 more of these kicking around the house. I just maybe have to stumble upon them, right? And then when I find them, that's when I'll open them up and put them all into a jar. Or maybe I'll put this one in particular, just so I can get the taste of it, right, into one of those little brown amber jars, being that I still live in Canada. and I haven't ran away from home yet. I'm just saying, right? And we get the taste of it, right? With that fish cod powder. That's the secret. I think so. And then if I want to mimic a so-called wonton soup base flavor, I would first of all use the vegetable stock that I'm stocking up on. Hopefully I'll get I think I got ordered 15 cans or something like that. 12 or 15 cans. I think I upped it to 15 cans. Which should get me at least, well, it will definitely get me 2 full quarts of wide mouth jars. Yeah, which will be good and a bit, right? And then that little bit I can take and maybe play with it and see if I can use it for a wonton base, whatever that means. So I'd put this into a amber jar to get the taste, and then use the other vegetable base to build on to get a similar taste, so that if I do want to make wontons, assuming that I'm in Canada, because once I walk away from everything except my grandkids, because you know I'm going to fight for my grandkids to be shipped over to me on the other side of the border. That's damn right. That's the only thing I'm fighting for. When I get to the States, I'm going to, I think, to the U.S. consulate. I'm not going to the Canadian consulate. Hell no. The Canadian government's way too freaking corrupt. I can't stand them anymore. I don't trust the process. There is no justice system. There is no policing system. All you get are body snatchers and a bunch of cover-ups. That's it. That's all you get. Yeah. So, forget the highway of tears. I'm not going to find any help in a small community that's being wiped out by those social workers as they're putting the natives on the run. I'm just saying, because the further you go out, that's when you're getting into smaller communities with less resources, with yada right. As if I'd get any help out there. I'm not going to get any help. So I don't have a choice. I'd have to go to the States if I hit the highway. If I hit the highway, I'm hitting towards the U.S. And once I cross over, I'm probably, I think for me, because I am going blind, and I would be myself, I would list myself down as a political refugee or a political, I can't call myself a prisoner, although I'm a prisoner to my own home. So it's almost like you could label me as a political prisoner, because they're using legislation as an excuse to do what they're doing, which is completely unreasonable considering our circumstances when it comes to special needs and special circumstances. A corrupt housing market where you can't even move even if you wanted to, and when you do, you have to get rid of almost everything you own. And then once you do that, when you move, you're going to be in a smaller place with less than what you had, and then the social workers are going to show right back up, and they're just going to start with the shenanigans. Well, you don't have enough of this, and you don't have enough of that, you don't have enough space, you don't have enough blankets, you don't have enough of anything. As a matter of fact, you don't even have enough money. So, they're just going to start their antics all over again, right? And then they're going to use their political legislation as a means to justify whatever it is that they're trying to gain from it, whether it's body parts, after the fact, or whether it's straight up moolah when he goes into foster care, because the only one that they're going to be able to snatch up on will be Amari. Where are they going to put Andre in a group home? For what purpose? Are you going to snatch up on Andre and put him in a group home with a bunch of drug-addicted kids? Yeah, sure. I don't think so. Right? You'd have to deal with the Papa Bear in that situation, which would be Mark Hain, and he wouldn't allow that to happen. But you think I'm going to go to the States and just say goodbye to my grandkids? I can say goodbye to everything else. They're taking it, they're robbing it from me anyway. Doesn't matter who it is. It's my landlord, it's the city of Surrey, it's my son and his wife, it's freaking the social workers. Tisha says just chuck it, get rid of it, I don't want it. And what she does want, maybe she might want this, but, would she appreciate it? Oh, for a moment, but after that, she'd forget about it and get rid of everything else. It's not important to me, only this because it's $1,000. I can sell it and buy a house with it, Mom. Give me $2,000, Mom. I can't afford it. Well, yes, you can. No, I can't. Well, yes, you can. You should just give it to me. I said, I can't. Well, borrow it on your credit card, Mom. I said, I can't. You know, I'm trying to bring down my, oh, you're a bitch, click. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just saying. You never gave me anything. Okay, I never gave you anything. Oh. Cross the border, find a way. I don't know how I'd figure it out, but I'd have to figure it out. And I figure go straight to the U.S. consulate. And they'll be like, go to the Canadian. I'll be like, no. I'm too scared to live in that country. I'm done. I'm done. I was a street youth at 15 years old, and they're putting me right back out on the street in my 60s. As they're playing Russian roulette with my grandkids' lives. Yeah, that's the way I see it. And therefore my grandkids are not safe in Canada. How do I make applications to bring them to the States, being that I still have guardianship? Because they'd have to take me to court, right, to take guardianship away from me. But if I'm hooking up with resources in the United States, maybe a couple of good people that actually know what it means to fight for justice, unlike Canadians that are just a bunch of criminals infecting other people to become criminals. Seriously, that's how I see this country. Hell, you can't even open your door without being insulted. Not once, but twice, but 3 times, 4. Oh, how many times? Too many times to count. Yeah. Being told that you're trash because you can't pay enough money for a broken down house that nobody wants to fix. Unless it's absolutely necessary and they don't have a choice. Other than that, you deal with it. Take it as is. You want it fixed, you fix it. You don't like it, you can move. Yeah, okay. So U.S. consulate, that'll probably direct me into the right direction, and then start the paperwork right away. Whatever paperwork I gotta start. I'll be asking for U.S. citizenship, or whatever it is I'm called, refugee status, I don't care. Whatever you think. I just know that I'm not safe in fucking Canada. Nope. No, I'm tired of this, people. I am I never got justice for Sierra. I couldn't get justice for Shimei. I couldn't get justice for Uncle John. I couldn't get justice for Andre. I sure in the hell can't get justice for Amari. You know, and because I couldn't get justice for them, Tisha and Marcaine never got justice because, you know, they've been injured by it. We've all been injured by it. And these women that call themselves social workers, you know, they're just digging in knives. There's more than one knife here that they're digging in. Yeah, they're digging in the knives deep. It's like my son said, oh, here we go again. You know, we're powerless. We can't do anything about it. You know, we're just what I don't know, something along that line, right? Like, doesn't matter what we want, it's all about what they want. Yeah, okay. Okay. So when it gets real ugly, if it gets real ugly, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to walk away because I wanted to walk away when I walked out of that building, and I'm like, where are you going, Judy? What direction? You going to keep on walking? How far are you going to walk for until you get tired, and then what? What? What's the plan? What's the plan? Well, I'm getting a plan. I'm putting together a plan. If I'm in the States and I don't want to come back to a corrupt country, even Trump is putting tariffs on this country because of corruption. Yeah, you know, a little bit to do with the fentanyl and all that crap with the drugs, right? I know, and some people are saying, oh, it's just a smokescreen. Hell no. I could go out and buy fentanyl not even a freaking block away from here. Crying out. They take people out, dead bodies, in body bags, people. They don't take them out in gurneys. Why do you think they take them out in body bags? No, sorry, hammocks. They take dead bodies out of houses like this in hammocks. Even though they've got the coroner on site with the body dude guy with his vehicle with a gurney, but they're not taking out the bodies on the gurney. They're taking them out in a hammock because they're plugging in those portable perfusion machines that sit on the chest with 3 tubes plugged into the wherever. One up by the groin area, another one up here, someone over. There's only 3 tubes. 1, 2, 3. And as soon as they're plugged in and they turn on the machine, what do you think happens? It starts to flush out the organs and it gets it ready for illegal organ harvesting. That's why Shimei's body was taken out of this house in a hammock. So don't come talking to me about no frickin' gurney. And then we got YouTube, what's new, playing Mine Effery. It went up to $10 and almost $11. Then it dropped down to 9 something, and then it creeped back up to over $11, and then it dropped down to 10. And then the last time I did it was $9.83 or something. Look at this. Now it's $9.62. So they keep taking money away from me, right? And I'm getting views on my videos. It's not like, I mean, of course, it's not a lot of views, but this last one that I just put up, it says 46 views. Watch time is kind of low.
Does this sweater smell good? Just to make sure.
Yeah, it does. You know, and like, but the thing is, they want me to verify. Can you just put it on pause? It kicks out if it's on pause, isn't it? Just turn down the volume.
No, it doesn't.
Well, sometimes it does.
That's just asking you to sign in. And that's just because you give it like a long period of time. Takes like an hour or two for it to kick out.
Oh, and then what happens? What do I push to hook back in?
Just press the microphone button and just say YouTube if you want to watch it again.
Oh, okay. All right. So that, you know, because I did the monetization stuff, I had to get new ID done because my ID was old after my driver's license expired. Right? I didn't renew it because what for? But they wanted up to date. Right, you know, national, whatever cards they give you out now. So I went off and I did that, and I submitted that. They accepted that, and then they wanted me to verify my address, but they said they were going to mail me a pin in the mail. But we're having a Canada postal strike, right? So I can't get it. So I can't verify my address because they said that if I don't verify my address, I guess AdSense isn't going to pay me. Not that I'm getting paid very much anyway, because I'm only making 10 cents to 15 cents, 20 cents here and there. I mean, it did. It went like to $11 and some odd cents. After it was $10, it dropped back to 9, then it went up to 10, then it went up to 11, and then it dropped back down into the 10s, and now it went to 9 something, and now it's even less since yesterday. Like, it's messed up, and like, and they want me to do live streams every day. They sent me an email saying, oh, you know, you can have super chat and you can do this and you know, yada yada, and fans this and fans that, and just do your live streams every day. Be consistent. And if you can't do them every day, that's why Latrice Allen is always pumping out those live streams. That's why freaking Raw Squad always pumping out those live streams, doing the same old shit over and over and over and over again, not really talking anything of substance other than just whatever. But it works for them because they attract Black American women to follow them, where I don't have that Black American following, right? And YouTube takes advantage of that. So in the meantime, because, you know, I'm talking about, I'm serious. Like, if they're going to bankrupt my house, make me get rid of more of my belongings, which is another form of theft as far as I'm concerned, use my grandson as a legislated tool in a political sense, not because it makes sense, but because they can do it, because they want to prove that they can do it. It's like my son said, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter if it's important, it doesn't matter if it's serious, they're going to do what they want to do anyway, Mom. You should know that by now. Yeah, you're right. So what the hell am I in this country for? Because I already know where my body's going to end up, and it won't be on a freaking gurney. It's going to be in a fucking hammock, okay? And because our government is corrupt and they cover up that fact, you know, what is the point? To stay and allow my grandkids that same fate without at least fighting for them to be safe from that activity, to which, in a roundabout kind of way, whatever Trump is doing with these tariffs to try and control Canada with its corruption, whether that's true or not, because I'm not that deep into the politics, but I've come across a few videos and read a few things where, he's like putting Canada in check for Canada not cleaning up its act when it comes to the drugs that go through this country. And this country is infested with drugs because it creates it's a multi-billion-dollar industry to have all these dead bodies show up because of an accident or a suicide, based on what the cops have to say, to which they're getting kickbacks from every body that they help to snatch or lure to their death. And that's just a fact. So why would I stick around and leave my grandkids hanging in that situation when I'm being clearly cornered into a situation where I will own nothing, have nothing, be mistreated, less than a freaking dog, worse than a native woman, and lose my grandkids in the end anyway? Well, at least the youngest of the young, who can't defend himself, right? Always wondering when he's going to die in their care, not in our care, not in my care, not in Andre's care, not even in my son's or Marina's care or Tisha's care, because I know Andre's going to be there, but they don't acknowledge Andre. No. Andre has no contribution to society. He's not allowed to help look after his nephew, or his cousin, I should say. He's not allowed to have love for his cousin and be responsible for, that's the social workers don't want that. That's not what they want. They want him to go and sit in front of a whole bunch of people so that they can manipulate him to go to this program, that program, and that program, and find himself. Because for whatever reason, he's not finding himself here. And he's not growing the way they want him to grow, even though they are the ones who initially hindered his growth when they first illegally took him and made it so that he stopped eating and stopped talking for 6 months. And then bullied me and muscled me into seeing him so that they could worm him back to me so that I wouldn't take it to trial. Well, go say that to an American lawyer, being that we're in court fighting for custody or guardianship or whatever you want to freaking call it, because I ain't giving up guardianship. Hell no, I want my kids out of that fucking rotten country. It's not safe. Trump is on the right track, right path. Yeah. It's been infiltrated with too many racist, immigrants that see you as a commodity, that see us as a commodity and set us up for failure as they make backroom deals with public union sector workers, because it's organized religion in partnership mainly with the public union sector for the ones that they can bribe. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. And that's why YouTube's taken away money from my channel. Yeah, even though I'm not making very much money. Yeah. Or it's because I can't verify my address. So AdSense has dropped me. As I'm still being shadow banned. Yeah. Because I talk too much. My videos are too long. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm not pretty enough. Definitely not black enough. I just wanted to point that out. I thought every time it drops, I'll just record it. Well, let's see if it goes back to 32 cents. That's what we started out with, right? 32 cents, remember? Oh my God. I was so afraid to make 32 cents off of YouTube, what it would do to my welfare check, because that manufactured poverty would hold it against me. Oh, you're making an income, 32 cents. You're not allowed to work. You're on welfare. And if you do, you better claim it, because under this legislation, it says we can take it back to 32 cents because it's dollar on the dollar, because it's an earned income. But don't forget to pay your taxes first. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm thinking stateside, people. If it gets real ugly, who needs the OnlyFans? That ain't gonna save me. That's not gonna save me. no legal aid lawyer out here is going to save me. No filing a lawsuit by myself, doesn't matter how I file it, who I file it against, in what type of court setting it's going to be. It's not going to matter because the whole system is corrupt. I'd have a better fighting chance in the state starting fresh. Like I tell Andre, we downsize, we liquidate, we figure out what we want to keep. Like, for example, she wants this window cleared out. Like, there's enough space that if a fire happened, you can get through. I don't know if she expects me to get rid of that TV and everything that's on top of that TV, but it ain't going to happen because Andre and I have already decided we want to keep the TV with the VCR, with all the VCR, so that when we do move and I do get that big so-called rumpus room with the big mattress on the floor, with the bean bags, with or without a hoist from the ceiling, paid for by the grace of the government, because they'll provide that for you to lift him up on a hoist, the bigger he gets. I'd rather him still on the floor, being free, moving around, because that's just the way it is, versus in a metal cage as a grown big-ass person, right? And then put it, okay? And we want the TV in there, the TV that we have with the VCR, with the VCRs, whether I'm listening to them, blind as a bat or not, or whether Amari's listening to them, or maybe Tisha with her little kids, maybe she'll, or whatever. They don't have a right to tell me to get rid of my TV any more than they have a right to tell me to get rid of my computer desk with my 2 computers, my books, my paperwork, yada yada. If they got something to say, well, you've got too much paper. Well, yeah, because I cleared out my room. I've made it into a pantry. You know the reasons why. And, you know, it's just a matter of time. I have nonprofit paperwork in here. I have court papers in here. I have Amari's paperwork in here. I have bills and all that type of paperwork in here. And everything else, miscellaneous, whatever paperwork in here. That's not a crime. And I had to take whatever I had in my room and bring it here. I just haven't had the time to sort it out because that's not the priority yet. Some of them I do plan on shredding, although, you know, like if and when it ever goes to court, I need to prove that, you know, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on food, whether it's Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, buckets with gamma lids, freaking 55 pounds of this and 88 pounds of that, in terms of like wheat and beans and rice and yada yada, hundreds of, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on dry goods, thousands and thousands of dollars on canned goods. I've done the home canning. You're looking at thousands of dollars just in jars, and you want me just to start chucking shit out because you want to be in control so that a room sit empty, or we put Amari at risk to injury, quite possibly to death, so that you can prove that you guys know what you're fucking talking about. As I slowly but surely still lose everything, because I can't take it with me. The government of Canada and the province made sure that I can't afford to rent anything. So I don't win either way. Either way. If I was living in a basement suite full of freaking mice, in a 2-bedroom basement suite, right, with Mari and Andre, with the bare minimum of nothing, with a whole bunch of freaking mice or rats or both running around, with that house set up for demolition, because you know it is, paying out $2,400 a month for that shithole. You don't think the social workers aren't going to show up with their crap again? Of course they are, because it's a setup. They want you to do drugs. They want you to drink. Yeah. They want you to not come home. So they have a reason to kick you out in the middle of winter and then come in and snatch up on the babies. Yeah. As they mistreat the elderly. Yeah, because they're sure in the hell not helping my friend. And she's elderly. And she's losing her house. Yeah. They don't care. That's not where the money's at. No. So, being that I have friends next door, Many of them came in as refugees or whatever, or whatever, or whatever. I'm sure they can give me some advice how I can cross over the border if I had to, being that I'm being forced out of my house. Whether it's a mental eviction, with my stuff being robbed from me again, and I can't say no. I just have to watch it happen like I did with the city, and then pay the cost of that action in terms of what's next, because it will be something next. Or whether that whatever next puts me in a place where I can't even afford the rent anymore, and then I'm evicted physically. So whether it's in the mind, like right now it's in the mind, okay? Whatever I'm going to face when the time comes to leave this house, they're making me face it now, just by putting these barriers in front of me that are unreasonable and putting me further into debt, which is political, so that they can keep me locked into poverty like a damn slave as they treat me less than a native on Highway 16. Highway of Tears. I don't know why I keep calling it Highway 16. Maybe it's Highway 16, but it's been dubbed the Highway of Tears, where Native women go missing, looking for a better life. There is no better life in Canada unless you're an immigrant coming in with a bad attitude and willing to commit crimes. Then maybe you'll get ahead. Other than that, join the rat race, the new Congo, because not every immigrant is corrupt. And I'm sure many of them fall victim to that hammock. They just don't realize what's inside that hammock. They just assume it's just a body, but they're not in tune with the perfusion machine and what it even means in terms of what it's capable of doing to the body before it gets to the hospital in front of that surgeon with the turban. As the government pays him with his own operating team, so everybody stays quiet as they're laundering those organs within the black market and passing the suitcase full of money under the gurney so they can build another ghost building. That's some serious shit. And that's what the government covers up. And that's why you can't trust the government. And that's why my grandkids would never be safe in this country. Okay, so I'm going to put this up because there's already kind of dragging out. And this, like, almost, this is a totally different subject, really, than this stuff, okay? Andre's going to a birthday party, so I don't know how much of this I'll be able to do in terms of the high seasoning and yada-yada. Simply because if Andre's not in the living room and Amari's on the couch and he knows he's in there by himself, that's when he's Houdini too. And he moves fast. I'm talking fast, fast, fast. And that's when he's starting to hang off the couch, and then he's reaching for things, and he's going for it because there's nobody there to stop him. And within 30 seconds, he's off and running. And you come to him, and he's got things, whatever, okay? So my day is going to be pretty much shot here for a little while. And then Andre's coming home, and then he's going back out because Marcane's taking him to a night market or something. So it's... yeah. So basically, I'm going to end this video, but what I am going to say is, like, I'm serious. I am. Because I'm not going to have my son accuse me of just thinking about my stuff. Because I refuse to let the social workers bully me into removing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of items, whatever those items are, just because they have a point to prove that they're big and bad, and they can make me do it under their legislation, because if they don't, they're going to come in with the cops and take Amari. We already know Andre will bolt, so they can't use Andre as a tool anymore, that is. And once that happens, then there's no point in me sticking around, people. There just isn't, because I'm not going to go to court for 15 months or however long, 22 times, 30 times later, so that they can remove me as a guardian to my grandsons, as they try and make it sound like I'm completely irresponsible, drugged out, strung out, whatever, bonkers, who knows, okay, unreasonable, blah, 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 right? So that they can prove their point in court as they rustle around and, well, who gets Amari now because Judy's not there to watch him? Oh, well, I can't because I'm pregnant, but Marina already said she would with Marcane, and there's always Andre there because, God knew what he was doing when he made Andre, because, as soon as Amari goes to the next location, Andre's right there, and everybody's going to look to Andre and say, okay, well, what do we do? Your Nana's not here anymore. Well, Andre will walk him through it, and then whatever he can't do, they're going to do my job. And my son will not be able to use against me that I lost Amari because I refused to give away $30,000-$40,000 worth of fabric and everything else that's connected to that fucking fabric, including $1,000 dresses. Because I will literally walk away from it, and I will leave this rotten, stinking fucking country. I will go to the U.S. consulate, and I will put an application in for some kind of refugee status, political or otherwise. I don't know yet. All I know is that I'm not safe here. My grandkids are not safe here, and I want my grandkids being shipped off to the United States after I get the freaking fucking paperwork done, and the lawyers can figure it out on that side as they fight with the lawyers on this side. And if a crooked judge wants to take away my right to be the guardian to my grandkids, as he's got everybody's cortisol going, so he can destroy more lives and feed the status quo with those backroom deals and kickbacks as they traffic children through the court systems, through the Ministry of Children and Family Development, for profit, in the pocket, when nobody's looking, for brownie points, for a job, whatever it is, for ego, whatever drives these so-called individuals. He can't say, I wanted to keep my stuff. Mom walked away because she wanted to keep her stuff. Fuck the stuff. But you're big and bad, so you deal with it. Go nuts! You see, I was already homeless a long time ago, long before my kids were ever freaking born. They've had a pretty damn good life, considering that they had a pretty damn good mom. The only thing is they don't appreciate their mom. I was homeless when I was, when I was 14, 15, part of 16, and I managed. I did what I had to do. Whether it was right or wrong, it didn't matter. I looked after myself. I wasn't afraid to stand on my own 2 feet and pave my way. I just didn't realize how corrupt our society was back in those days, and why whatever I went through happened outside of manufactured poverty. It was designed to be that way. I was handled and maneuvered and manipulated to be where I was. I didn't have no home. I had a roof over my head, but I had to work for it. Yeah. So I'm not afraid of homelessness and having nothing. I got fur coats here. We're going into the middle of winter. When I fucking leave, I'll make sure I have a fur coat and another one in a backpack with my bug-out bag of a few snacks. Maybe some pecans, some raisins, high-calorie foods. Because everything else I'm leaving behind and I'm not coming back. Once I cross the border, I'm not coming back. You can kill me. Put me on the execution line. I don't care, but I'm not coming back. Once I cross, that's it. I'm not coming back. I'm never fucking coming back. This country is dangerous. It's totally 100% corrupt. That's what my videos have proven all these years. Yeah. And my son can't say, oh, well, she did it because she wanted to keep her stuff. No. You can go nuts with it. You can throw it out. You can give it away. You can sell it. I don't care what the hell you do with it, because you know what? At the end of the day, it just shows how stupid you are. Yeah. And maybe you might come across something, you'll be like, oh no, Marina, throw it out, throw everything out. I don't want no reminders of your mom, because your mom is the problem. Throw everything out. I don't like your mom. No, she's a problem. He'll be like, well, no, I want to keep this. It's not that it reminds me of my mom, but I think it's valuable. I think we should keep... No, I don't think so. No, you can just go to work and go buy a new one. Just go buy a new one. Fuck your mom. She left. She abandoned you. Your mom abandoned you. Don't you see that? After all these years, she left you high and fucking dry. Yeah, okay. No, I didn't abandon him. Maybe I'll get the kids across the border and maybe he'll follow. How about that? Leave this stupid country too. I wonder if I could hire a coyote to sneak me across the border. What do you think that costs? $2,000, $3,000, $1,000? Or do they even have coyotes in Canada? They have coyotes in Mexico to get people across from the Mexican border into the United States. But do they have them to get people from Canada going into the United States? That's something I really seriously need to check into. Yeah, because I'm not kidding, people. If I'm going to start losing my even more of my belongings, it's bad enough that I'm already facing freaking homelessness and I'm having to downsize. Well, I'm saying that wrong. It's bad enough that I'm already having to downsize as I'm facing homelessness. So even though I downsize, doesn't guarantee that I'm going to be able to afford to find anything that's reasonable where I can keep the family together when it comes to Amari and Andre, with or without my son. That's affordable after I downsize things without being harassed again by overzealous social workers trying to boost up their portfolios with those bonuses that come in after the fiscal year is done. Okay? I'm just saying. So, you know, being that I was homeless when I was a youth, and I know what it feels like, I'm already familiar with it, so it's not like it scares me, because it doesn't. Right? At 63, 64 years old, I don't expect to try and start a business, you know, the Canadian dream, like when I was 15, I'm going to start my own little business. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do what I need to do so that I'm not a problem on society. I'm looking after myself. I'm being productive and yada 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 yada, right? And then okay, so whatever. And then kids came, and then I started a nonprofit and invested tens of thousands of $100,000 into that crap, thinking I lived in a country that actually valued community activism and progress for all, and which was one big fat lie, because it's so infested with so many corrupt people that's impossible to even think about anymore. So it's not like I want to go to the United States and start a nonprofit over there with big dreams, because there are no dreams. The only dream I have left out of everything that I've been through all these years is to get my grandkids to a safe location where they're not going to be targeted, period. And at least if they're targeted, there'll be more resources for them to tap into to fight against that targeting when it comes to people that actually stand for justice. Because as far as I'm concerned, if not all, but the majority of lawyers that live in this country are cowards and do not stand up for justice for any reason. Unless, of course, maybe you have $100,000, $200,000 for them to do the happy dance and maybe bribe the judge to cut him some slack. But other than that, forget it. We're down there, people actually fight for justice with or without pay. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I would go. Because I'd have a better chance of finding decent human beings that are sincere and real with the cause, whatever that cause is. And in this case, It's losing human rights as you're being boxed in like a slave with no escape. And you're just set up to be body parts in the end after the fact, with nobody wanting to acknowledge that because the government itself and the policing agencies, yada yada yada, healthcare system, they're all corrupt. So you don't think I'm not going to go to the U.S. consulate and talk about that and what, pull up my YouTube videos? Oh, I better bring some paperwork with me. Bring my files. I'll bring my external hard drives. Yeah, in case you're going to delete my YouTube channel because they're going to want to hide the evidence? I can prove that Shimei was illegally embalmed on the bed, at a hospital bed, for 9 days. They had to embalm her, otherwise she would have decomposed way too freaking fast. Sierra, I'd be surprised if she was dead for 19 days, because she didn't even smell that bad after 19 days being in cold storage. I almost feel like they tortured her before they freaking snuffed her out for sure, and then they let me see the body after the fact, because there was no decomposition, nothing, just a little bit on the face with the blisters coming. That was it, and slight color on her torso where that funeral director pointed it out to me. But other than that, her body looked pristine. How is that possible in cold storage after 19 days? Because she was in cold storage for 19 days until I finally got able to identify her body. You cannot get an independent autopsy in Canada. Well, I don't know about Canada, but in British Columbia, Canada, in this province, you cannot get it. It doesn't matter how rich you are, you cannot pay for an independent autopsy to see if your loved one was really died the way the coroner wrote it down, because anybody can write anything. Anybody can write and falsify records, okay? All right, that's what my videos show, okay? So why is it that people can't get their loved ones independently autopsied if they suspect foul play and the cops are lying about it and the coroner's lying about it and the healthcare system is, because they're covering up illegal organ harvesting? That's why, people. Why is it that you can't have a body buried into a tomb under shady circumstances or not, like Sierra, and then come in and get that body exhumed so that you can have an independent autopsy? Why is it you're not allowed to do that under legislation? Because the government doesn't want you to do that, because they don't want you to discover that there are no organs in that body. Or maybe they just want you to not discover that there's no body in that tomb. They just want you to think it's in there. That's why you can't exhume it. Those are the issues I am going to the U.S. consulate with, because that is the fate of my grandkids unless something turns it around, being that these social workers are pushing people into that direction, knowing that we have no voice, knowing that we can't fight back, knowing that lawyers are a joke, okay? Unless, of course, you want to, rob a bank? How long do you think it would take for me to make money on OnlyFans, if I could even do it, first of all, to pay for a lawyer to fight the good fight? Well, I got my son screaming at me it's all my fault that Amari's not in the house. I'd rather walk away, go across the border, and fight to have him shipped over across the border with people who actually do care about him, versus who want to lock him up into a freaking metal cage with a padding on it and a freaking feeding tube and a freaking baby monitor on it. Right, in terms of a foster care parent. What? Just give them to Marcane and Marina, and they can scramble around and liquidate the house. Get rid of everything. Social workers will help you with that. Don't worry, because that's the only way you're going to be able to keep on Amari. They're going to come downstairs. You need to get rid of this. You need to get rid of that. You don't have enough space. Something's wrong here. Yeah. And then they'll know what I'm feeling. And then maybe they'll want to come to the States. And maybe whatever I did on that side, like an underground railroad, instead of running to the north, I'm running to the south. I'm starting the underground railroad to get out of fucking Canada. Okay, so I'm going to work on a bug out bag. I'm going to look for some fur jackets, only because we're going into winter. I guess some clothes. 1 or 2 backpacks, enough just to be able to carry, nothing more, nothing less. Double up on the fur coats if I have to, in case I lose one. Just saying. Right? Try and scrounge around a bit of money. Wait for the shit to hit the fan. As everyone's screaming at me, blaming me for this. Tisha being rude and obnoxious. Amari had an appointment yesterday with Dr. Ramesh. I was going to go. I wanted to go because of this medication. I wanted him to show me how to use it, right? In terms of the syringe and that type of thing, right? Right? And the only thing is, Amari, he's sleeping now. Now he's sleeping. It's at 12 o'clock. He just fell asleep about 15 minutes ago because he got up at 4 in the morning. Now he's sleeping for a while. And he'll sleep for an hour or two, maybe at best. And he'll be right back at it, bouncing around. Okay, so it was piss-pouring rain. We know he's had a cold. We just were out on the day before. And then all of a sudden, you know, because he's been trying to want to poo, right? He crying, and I'm like, Andre, oh my God, what's going on? Well, he's trying to poo. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. And like, he goes, do you want to take him to the appointment? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, you don't want it to stop from coming out. And if he's sitting for hours in between transport and waiting to see the doctor and coming home, right, and he's got a poo, that could be a problem. And he's crying, you know, so I called the office up. Because Tisha said, you need to go this time. I said, yeah, I want to go because I want to deal with this, right? And, you know, to touch base with just whatever we talked about on the phone the last time I talked to Ramesh with the appointment on the phone, right? Just to let him know where I'm at with things, right? In terms of, like, booking appointments and stuff, right? Because we're looking at the gastrial part of maybe there's something wrong with his intestines, and maybe that's why he's not absorbing the nutrients. And then, of course, there's, you know, the test that was requested from Dr. Morpuri, who I don't see anymore, and he's the hip doctor for bone health, right? So there's that appointment. They want to book, but the gastro referral hasn't gone in yet. And I, you know, so I phoned anyway. I phoned Dr. Ramesh's office. I said, okay, I've been in this situation before. He's got a poo, blah, 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 right? And, you know, is it okay if I cancel the appointment? And it was, I had like an hour to go. Like an hour, like it was within an hour and a half of being there. Okay, lock the bottom lock, please. And, she goes, well, yeah, it's okay, but it's not. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, you know, he's got a poo again. He's starting to cry. And, you know, he's uncomfortable. And, you know, he does have a cold. And, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, it's okay. We'll just do a telephone thing. And I said, okay, are you sure? She says, yeah, it's okay. All right. So I get off the phone. I phoned Tisha. I let her know I'm not going. Oh, I knew you weren't going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. You're such a bad man. Click. I'm like, fuck off, Tisha. Like, fuck off. Hold on a minute. Okay, he didn't sleep very long. Half an hour. Then he started with that gurgling shit again. I'm like, oh my God. I get up and he's playing with that noise. He's doing it on purpose now. It's a new sound. And then he starts talking like a Donald Duck. He's starting to sound like, you know, he brings it to a point where it sounds like Donald Duck. So, you know, in terms of going blind with, you know, what I'm thinking, it doesn't make a difference, people, because when I walk, that's it. I walk away from everything. The money, the belongings, all of it. The only thing I'm not walking away from is my grandkids. It may look like that, but everybody seems to think that they can do a better job and they have a right to dictate to me everything. Doesn't matter what it is. I can't even cancel an appointment with I was talking about the pediatrician, right? So I phoned Tisha, right? And I said, Tisha, I canceled the appointment because Amari's starting to try and poo. You know, he's crying again and it's like pouring, pissing rain out there. And yada. Oh, I knew you weren't going to go. I piece of shit. Hung up the phone on me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm getting so tired of this crap. So fucking tired of this crap. I can't stand this haughty behavior. She used to pick on Shimei when Shimei was alive. I was too... I don't know. I didn't really notice it, you know, because Shimei didn't really complain about it. But when I look back now and I ask myself, why was there conflict between my girls? I can understand exactly what Shimei was feeling because Tisha used to tease her about her weight and those kind of things. Because Tisha was skinny, Shimei was a little more plump or could plump up, either or, right? Because of genetics and whatnot and just whatever, right? And, you know, they used to squabble, right? And then as soon as Shimei died, that's it. Tisha put her sights on me, and she's always trying to put her fucking thumb on me. She calls me down, and she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she thinks she's got the perfect world with her 2 fucking kids sitting up in an apartment building, and her life is in complete control, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a lousy mom because she still can't read, blah, 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 and or whatever her issue is at the time. In this situation, it was, oh, I knew you weren't going to go see Dr. Ramesh and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, whatever. She hung up on me. So Dr. Ramesh, he calls me, the pediatrician. Explained to him, you know, I wanted to come see you. I really did, right? It was an hour within, you know, about an hour and a bit just before it was time to get there, right? But you know, I just know how it can be with the Mari. All of a sudden, you know, the body, it's not a Mari. Mari doesn't push it out, the poo, right? It's the body that does that. And once the body starts, you know, you got to make sure he's not sitting up. You got to lay him down, so make sure there's room in his diaper, right? Or whatever, you know, and it can take hours, it can take days, you know, it just don't know, right? And, you know, it's awful. So, you know, I said, you know, that's what happened. And I just don't know. Like you know, and I, like, I'll pay. Because you have to pay for cancellation. Okay, fine, I'll pay. So I said to him, you know, for the cancellation, you know, I'll pay. Right? I'll pay, right? Oh, no, that's okay. I'll talk to the desk. You don't have to pay. Blah, 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 blah. We talked about the things that we talked about, right? Which... The last time I had a telephone thing with him, we talked about the same things. We touched base on the same things. And after it was all said and done, he said what he had to say. I said what I had to say. And then he says, well, we'll just do a follow-up in 3 or 4 months from now. It was no more than a 15-minute conversation. That was it, people. That was it. But I feel like crap because I got a daughter that's ragging on me because I'm not doing what she wants me to do when she wants me to do it. It doesn't matter what it is. And if I say no, it doesn't matter what it is, all of a sudden I become the worst mother on the fucking planet. So then, you know, what am I around for? You're not helping me to sell the stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been asking you for freaking years. You already told me what you were going to do if I died with Amari, right? So, you know, I don't even bother asking with that anymore. So don't get mad at me if I state the facts of what you've been telling me all these years and you keep insisting that this is what you would do, which is not what I would want you to do, but whatever. It's your life. You want to go live your life, no problem. But that doesn't give you the right to live our lives, you know? And like, anyway, it's not about Tisha, but even Marcane. If you don't get rid of that stuff, that $40,000 worth of fabric and your vintage clothing, and you lose Amari, it's all your fault because all you want is stuff. Well, maybe if you wouldn't have been throwing my stuff out of the basement all these years, to the point where I lost $30,000 worth of shit, if not more, with more shit outside still rotting, which should not be there. I'm just saying. Then maybe I wouldn't be in this position, or maybe if you would have helped me to sell things versus take my things and or whatever, or lock me out of my stuff, or what, I wouldn't be in this position now. So, you know, he just expects me to throw everything out so that I can continue looking after Amari, right, with Andre. Well, nobody appreciates that, as they continue to call us down for one reason or another, because we're not performing to whatever it is that they're doing or wanting from us. In other words, You know, my son is 34, young, healthy, strong, lots of energy, no responsibilities outside of himself and his wife, basically. Tisha, her happy little home with her little hubby and her 2 little kids, right? It's pretty straightforward, nothing too strenuous. You know, it's easy to clean an apartment, especially if you have minimal stuff in it, right? You know what I'm saying? Even if you're having another baby, wait until they're a little older. Come talk to me when they're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then come talk to me, but I'll be dead by then, so it won't matter. And you'll still be crying on that you can't read, even though you've had 20 years to teach yourself how. It's interesting how Andre can learn how to read, if for a kid that can't, has a more severe disability than you did, right? But, you know, he's determined to read. I told him, you know how you read, Andre? I tell him there's 2 parts of your brain. There's this part, when you're Googling and you're reading how to set up the settings to run a live stream, how to set up the settings to run the cameras, how to set up the stream to run your mics, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to get into the guts of the computer, into the software, and you have to do the settings. But before you do the settings, you have to understand what you're doing. So you go and he Googles and he reads and he reads and he reads until he gets head hurts, right? And after 2 days, he's got all the settings done. If you can do that, which is well above your grade level, because, you know, there's technical stuff, right? Then what you need to do is take the pen to paper, and start writing those sentences after you read whatever it is that Marcane wants you to read a story. Write 3 sentences, blah, 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 explaining what the story was. But, you know, he's at a very low grade level with that because he doesn't like it. But I told him, you have to bring that balance into your brain. Just like you made this part highly intelligent to do all those settings. And you forced yourself to do it. You made yourself do it. You disciplined yourself to do it. You educated yourself to do it. Well, it's the same thing with that way. And then once you start doing it that way, I said, think of a fountain. You're coming to a fountain that's shooting up water, right? You're not there yet, but you're coming to it with this writing part, right? And it's a struggle. And when you get to the fountain, you know, you have to cross over the fountain to get to the other side. And what's the prize on the other side of the fountain? But when you go through the fountain, what's going to happen? You're going to get wet. You might get cold. Your clothes are going to stick to your body, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a little uncomfortable. But once you get over to the other side, then you get to dry off. Right? You get the satisfaction to know that you did it. Plus, there's a big apple pie there that you can eat. That's the prize. Once you can do that part, whatever you teach your mind on this side of the brain through the pen and paper is going to complement what's on this side of the brain, because there's no balance. It's starved. The left, I don't know what side of the brain does what, but there's 2 separate parts of the brain, right, that process information, right, differently, that helps to bring the brain together so that you mature and you can elevate with your language skills. Andre's very lopsided. And being that he's stubborn and doesn't like to take pen to paper, don't expect to spell words very good just because you can do that on this side of the brain if you don't take the time to write them out over and over again. And then if you come across a word that you don't know, you know, you have to pick up the dictionary and read what it means to see how it sounds out in terms of syllables, to see what the companion words are when it comes to a thesaurus, and antonyms and synonyms and those types of things, right? It ain't going to happen unless you take pen to paper, which that's coming to the fountain. And then once you jump over and you get through it, where you've got that core base of that part of the brain almost equal to this part of the brain in terms of knowledge, right? Academic knowledge. That's when the 2 merge together and you have a handle on the English language. Tisha doesn't care about that. She never wanted to sit down with pen and paper, and I'm trying to tell Andre, you have to. You don't have a choice. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're always going to be lopsided. And there's going to be this huge freaking gap because you never worked at it. So he's starting to realize that whatever he did that he can do now with the technology thing, with the computer, through the reading and da-da-da-da, and a lot of hands-on experience. This is why this material, the fabrics and the clothes and the books and whatever it is that we choose to sell is so important, because it gives him the tools to start building in the hands-on approach to the learning process in general, which goes in. There it is right there. Stop doing that! I don't know how you're making that noise, but I don't like that noise, and neither does Andre. That's a noise we don't want to hear. That's a scary noise. Yeah. And he's catching a clue on it. He's catching a clue on it. He's not dedicated yet to take pen to paper. But he's starting to understand what I'm trying to explain to him. Right? You get what you earn. If you don't apply yourself, you don't get ahead with it. You don't get good at it. Right? You can't, there's no rewards by doing nothing. Okay? So, I don't like it when Tisha keeps, even at that meeting, oh, educate, you failed me. No, I did not, Tisha. You've been a stay-at-home mom for years, and you still haven't taken pen to paper to educate yourself. That part of the brain, oh, don't talk to me about you can't read. If you want to do something on the internet, you sure in the hell can do it. You want to do e-transfers and do this on your phone and do that and read enough to be able to do those things, then clearly you can read. You just don't read as much as or as well as you'd like to, because you're not willing to exercise this part of the brain by sitting down at the kitchen table at 1 o'clock in the morning when your kids are sleeping and doing plain up, straight up book work, pen to paper, however that comes in through a module, online course, whatever, writing sentences, having a dictionary beside you, a word dictionary behind, and a thesaurus. You know what I'm saying? No, don't blame me for that shit. That's what I tell Andre. Don't grow up to be like Tisha. Don't blame nobody but yourself, because, if you don't earn it, you don't get it. And to make it easy on you, just think of it as a fountain. You're going to get to the fountain. You're not quite there yet, but once you get there, you're going to get wet. Your clothes are going to stick to your body. You might get cold, right? It's going to take a little while to get dry clothes and to get warm again and feel comfortable. And then that's when you can eat the pie on the other side. And then there would be that balance with your brain. This part will work with this part because they have to work together. So I'm hoping he'll adjust to that idea in terms of how I tried to explain to him the importance of taking pen to paper, because he's stubborn, right? Even with Marcaine, he goes out of his way to please Marcaine, but he'll also get procrastinate and pretend, ignore, right? And then Marcaine, well, where's my sentence? Well, I haven't done it. What do you mean? You had enough time to do it, and there are only 3 sentences. Like, come on, boy, smarten up. And I mean, sometimes we have valid excuses. Amari had a seizure or something like that. There was, some kerfuffle going on. Social worker showed up, so it's not like he's one of writing sentences. But for the most part, I'm trying to get him right now. Where I'm at with Andre right now on this one is I gave him a book. I've been giving him really like grade 1 books that I have that are simple. Got him started, start with the introduction, do the body, do the conclusion. I walked him through it, and then I gave him another book that's like those children's books like Cat in the Hat, those kind of books, Mickey Mouse and the Beanstalk, but it was some little book that, I have tons of them, right? I said, look, before Uncle Marcaine asks you, because he's going to ask you, before he asks you, why don't you just every day, here's a book, Andre. All he's asking for is those 3 sentences. That's it. Read the book, because he can read and he can comprehend. He just doesn't, there's just that hurdle, that jumping over the fountain to write it down. Well, he reads the book. Okay, well, have you written your sentence? No, not yet. Why? Well, I don't know what to say. Well, tell me in words. What happened? What's the introduction? What's it about? He'll tell me in words. Okay, you can say it. Now write it. But I don't know how. I don't know. Right? That's what I mean. He has to exercise that part of the brain. So I'm trying to tell him, like, don't wait for Marcane. You know what he wants. 5 days a week. Read a book. Give him his 3 sentences so that he doesn't even have to ask you. Right? And to help you to get over the mountain, think of that prize. It's a big apple. It's like all psychological. But you're not going to get anything unless you do it. Unless you do it. That's why it's so important to keep this stuff that I have right now that I'm willing to let go. Okay? So whatever these social workers are up to is bull crap, because I already made the decision to sell it. I told my son, I'm not sure if I'm going to sell the fabric in bulk to get it out faster, or if I'm going to sell it in pieces. Or both. But before we sell it, it would be very good to give Andre that opportunity when my sewing table is cleared off with the yardstick and a meter, so he understands between metric and imperial. Imperial measurement is yards, inches and feet, right? And then metric is meters, centimeters, and millimeters, right? And I've got both of those, right? And he can measure, and he'll learn, and I'll have him write it down, versus just giving him a book, giving him pay, okay? Right? And that will, so within a month or 2 or 3 of doing that, he'll have that all figured out. And then I'm going to see if maybe Marina can set him up with spreadsheet or something similar to that, where it's easy enough to type in what it is in terms of the type, basically, of various types of different fabrics. If we're not sure, we can always take it down. He can take it downstairs, ask Marina what she thinks it is, and he can list it into the spreadsheet or a similar type of program with the measurement of it, with the estimated dollar amount that we think we should sell it at. So he's learning how to keep ledgers, right? Or inventory, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then, of course, put it online. And then if he sells it, because I'm not going to be checking up on it, he can check up on it every day, right? And if something sells, well, if you sold it for $50, you get $3 on the dollar. Wait, 30 cents on the dollar. 30 cents on the dollar. So you make $15 or something like that. Yeah. No. I don't know what 30% of $50 is. He'll learn how to use a calculator, and he'll also learn how to do it longhand, trust me. My brain's just too stressed out right now. And then you can start another spreadsheet and start keeping track. And then every month he can draw his line, see how much money he made. Yeah. Stop it! You're scaring me with those noises. Yeah. Okay, that noise I know. See, now he's starting to sound like Donald Duck. Take away all the stuff to sell, you can kiss that goodbye. And he'll be stubborn. He won't want to do math any more than he's already doing it. If you make it hands-on with the it's called manipulatives. If you give him the manipulatives that he can work with his hands, and that's what the computer and the mics and this and that and Nintendo and just the chords and whatever he's had gotten out of me all these years, that's all manipulatives. That's what made him help learn to read. The only thing is, this part is well above his grade level, while this part of the brain is way below. But he ain't going to bring it up unless he's the one who takes the pen and the paper to it. Well, it's the same damn thing with these stupid social workers. You take away the pen and the paper, don't expect them to get good at math or anything else when it comes to being, I guess you could say, financially literate. As you expect me to sit here and wait for the next time you want to kick me in the fucking ass. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I might have to walk away, people. I might. Because I'm not going to have my kids scream at me that it's all my fault for not throwing out $30,000 worth of shit. Because even if I threw out $30,000 worth of shit, it's going to be something else. And trust me, when I'm gone, whatever these people are doing, they'll do it to my kids. I don't care if it's Andre, Tisha that has Amari, or if it's Marcane that has Amari. They're going to come in and start dictating to them, oh, well, you can't do this, and you got to change. They'll be like, yeah, but you don't know. We're the ones here doing the daily grind. We know what works for Amari. We know what works for us. Doesn't matter what works for you. Because, right, until Amari turns 19, and then they'll drop him like a hot freaking potato. I don't know what the heck that was. Skip the dishes. I guess Alex, Tisha's hubby, apparently put an order in and gave him the wrong address. I find that to be kind of suspicious. And I'm being told I can eat it. Yeah, okay. I don't even know what it is. Well, I'm thinking about going hungry as I'm crossing the border, believing in God to get me through this very dark patch in my life. Yeah. Because it's getting darker. Literally. But it's not gonna frighten me. I'd be more frightened to stick around for this shit that I've been putting up with than I would be paving a new path. And maybe getting my grandkids, at least my grandkids, out of this stupid country. Because as soon as Amari turns 19 years old, these, whatever I'm dealing with, are going to drop him like a hot freaking potato. But before they drop him like a hot freaking potato, they're going to use him and abuse him until they can't do it no more. Just so that they can say that they have a fucking job. I'm sorry, boo-boo job. Because once he turns 19, they're not he's not under their legislation anymore. Yeah. And until you're harassed by people like this, the way I've been harassed all these years, and you work as hard as I've been working, whether you acknowledge it to be work or not, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're nobody to cast judgment. Yeah. Let them come into my son's world after I'm gone and start dictating to him what to get rid of. Just so they can come back and say it wasn't good enough, or times have changed and now he needs to do something else in order to whatever. All I know is it's disgusting. And I don't care if I'm going blind. Because I'll tell you, once you walk, and you keep walking, and you make that decision, there's no going back. Blind or not, there's no going back. I'm not going to sit here blind as a bat, listening to people terrorizing my shit as they're calling me down, feeding me food that maybe they spit in, and I'd never know because I wouldn't be able to see it, being that they don't care about me, ultimately, because they're too busy hollering and screaming at me because of what other people do. For every action, there's a reaction, cause and effect. Right? They forget the cause, and they forget the action. They're always just focusing on the reaction and the effect as they blame me for it. If I remove myself from that equation, they'll be left with everything. And I mean everything. Where I don't know. I don't expect miracles, that's for sure. But there might be a little bit of hope. Much more than what I'm getting in this country, that's for sure. Hell, I can't even go to the eye doctor without coming back with my eyes worse. Okay, so we know if I leave, I'm leaving with a fur coat, maybe 2. A duffel bag, maybe 2. The lighter the better, right? Because I'm a runaway slave. That's what I am. I'm watching too many slave stories on YouTube. I'm heading for the deep south. Yeah. Only I don't know how to get there. I'm trying to Google U.S. consulate to see what's close by in Seattle and places like that. I can't find nothing. U.S. consulate visa appointment. I'm not making no appointment. I'm sneaking in. I'm coming in as a refugee that's under attack, and my life is in danger. Yeah. That's exactly how I'm going to come in. I'm not going to be pimped out by 26-year-old or so freaking social workers that want to destroy my life and put everybody else in check and destroy their lives ultimately at the end of the day. When they're just going to flat out drop Amari like a hot potato when he turns 19, assuming that he can live that long. That's the game that they're playing. Yeah, that is the game that they're playing. They're playing with way too many lives. And I'm at the top of the list. Cut off the head of the mother, everything else starts to fall apart. We've seen that with Sierra. If they were successful at taking me out when I was fighting for Andre, those 22 times in court over that 15-month period, as my daughter Shimei was crashing, and Tisha was just a wild child, didn't want to take pen to paper. I'm just saying. Because her cortisol was going nuts. She didn't get into trouble, but she just couldn't focus. Yeah. They didn't take me out, though, now, did they? But they took out Shimei, and they took out Sierra, and they're still working on taking out Andre, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and they're not doing him no favors. Not what they think. Nope. They don't know how he learns. I know how he learns. People don't like it, but that's just the way it is. Everybody learns different. If you know anything about homeschooling, you'd realize that. Yeah. What was that president that couldn't read? He got dubbed the one that was very giving. He came from the farms. And he taught himself how to read himself. And he was an old president, way back in the beginning of the country when it was first established. I don't know if they called him friendly so-and-so or... I don't know. He was a very giving president. But he taught himself to read, coming in off the street with homeschooling as his background. And he became a president of the United States of America. I'm just saying. So whatever I'm looking at, I ain't going to figure it out myself. So by the grace of God, I've got a whole bunch of people that have come to Canada through various different methods. Some of them straight up refugees under the protection of to give them a safe haven in Canada as they're facing homelessness right now. Because a lot of those people over there are facing homelessness, even though Canada took them in as refugees. I don't know, more like body parts. Slaves to do the dirty work for those in the upper caste system of our society. Yeah. So their children can be apprehended. Because a lot of their children get apprehended. Right? Because, you know, this is Canada. Listen, I am listening to you, and you're just making some crazy noises that I don't like. Okay? Because, and then you gotta watch for those silent seizures. Are you making noise? You think everything's fine. He'll get quiet for a bit. You hear a toy make a little noise. You go to check on him, and he's in seizure mode. Been there, done that one too. So just because he gets quiet doesn't mean that's good either. So a lot of what you do with him comes to this, and you got to be aware of those milestones when he comes into new sounds or even new abilities, right, in terms of moving and being the Houdini magician where he can just whip out his diaper after he takes off his shorts and sticks his hand under the, what is that, pull up, so he can rip the diaper apart so he can grab it and then pull it out. That's a milestone, people. Okay, I know it doesn't seem like much to you, but for him, trust me, he's feeling like a king right now. Like he's in total control of his own little world. And even if he gets quiet and you thinking he's safe, you still gotta go check on him because you just never know. So, I guess whoever, because they're gonna have to fight now when I go. They'll be fighting. They'll be fighting because they won't believe that I did it, and they'll be pissed off that I abandoned them. That's what they'll be accusing me of, being abandoning them and being irresponsible, even though everybody wants me to get rid of my shit so they can keep me in that bitch mode, right? And yeah, abuse me until there's nothing left, until there's absolutely nothing left. At least this way, there's opportunity to get new people involved that are at arm's length, have nothing to gain outside of. They're genuine and they fight for justice. That's what I'm going for. Yeah, and maybe a new horizon, new opportunities where, I don't know. I'm not saying that the United States doesn't have corruption, but what's going on in Canada sucks. Right? At least Trump is trying to send back some of these people that are invading the country. Not here. Hell no. They're just keep bringing more and more and more and more and more and more and more in. Make it more like a rat race. And then sick the social workers on the most vulnerable within their society. Yeah. And they treat each vulnerable person differently. Like me, I'm vulnerable. I'm going blind. I'm aging. I'm overworked. I've lost a lot of family members to corruption. They know it. They know I'm facing homelessness because of the housing corruption, or at least I'm having to downsize into some real shanty shack that's going to be worse than what I've got now. But for them, it's a benefit because then they can come in and start up with their crap again and use Amari as a tool because he's not quite 19 yet, right? So, keeps feeding into their portfolios, their paychecks, their pension plans, their bonuses, right? Because there's bonuses, trust me, the person who cut me off of welfare in 2003 in the middle of winter, they got a bonus for that, okay? Because the government was cut backing. The government was cut backing. They did their cutbacks with removing people off of the welfare roll. And they used the social workers at that time in the financial department because the two two of them were together. And you know, this social worker that I'm dealing with right now, 2 times I've asked her to send me the link. 2 times. I've asked her to send, because I have to get a specific link from someone like that, or someplace like that, where it's a different kind of form that I fill out for that department, Ministry of Children and Family Development. And I would think also the financial department, which has now been broken up into 2, where before it used to be into 1, with the financial, I don't know how do they call it, Ministry of Innovation and Social Development. So that's the welfare part, right? That's the financial welfare part. And then Ministry of Children and Family Development is the other part of that block, right? There's a specific form that you fill out to get your files. And you can get those files from the day 1 when it was first opened in your name. And you can get all the facsimiles, the emails, anything that's related to it. You just list it down. Because I went through this when I was fighting for Andre. When I was fighting for Andre. If I go into my paperwork, I'll find that specific piece of paper. The problem is it's probably been changed by now, so I couldn't even use it if I wanted to. Versus the standard Freedom of Information. So there's 2 forms. One for the standard, where the majority of government agencies accept, where the other one has to be, you have to come in through a link to get it so that you can print it out, and then you put it to that particular department, which is just a very few select departments, because they don't want you to get a hold of this information they're writing up on you in your files. 2 times I've asked her to send me this. I asked her to send me the link when we were at that meeting, because she said I gave her my email address. Right? They already know about my YouTube channel. They've known about it for years. That's why she came to my door and said, you can get a lawyer. Well, no, okay, yeah, what, I'm going to do OnlyFans? Okay, sure, as if I want to go that route. But you know what? If I'm going to go that route, then maybe this might be the better route, because it shows everybody that it's not about my quote-unquote stuff. You can have my fucking stuff. You can take your fucking welfare check and shove it up your fucking ass, because I ain't coming back to fucking Canada. I'll sleep in a shelter in the United States of America, waiting for somebody that's decent to help me. While my government in Canada is hunting around for me in the United States, looking for me as everything's on lockdown in fucking court, because I'm the one that's holding guardianship. And you can't accuse me of being abandoning anybody in this situation, because all you have to do is watch my freaking YouTube video. I am not abandoning anybody. I'm fighting for their freaking rights here, people. Mine right now, my grandkids' rights, to have the right to be able to be happy, to be loved, to be looked after, to have their needs met, whatever it is. Whether it's jumping over the fountain, to go eat the apple pie after you get past that whatever mental block that you got that prevents you from taking pen to paper, or whether it's Amari not being locked up in some stupid cage with a baby monitor on them just to prove a point that you can tell somebody to do that. You know what I'm saying? Or my son, oh, you don't want to give away your $20,000 worth of fabric because it's all about you and your stuff. No, you can take the fucking stuff and stuff it up your fucking ass. How about that? Sorry, boo-boo ass. You know, just take it. I don't care. I'm not coming back. I'm not fucking coming back. You treat me like I'm fucking dead already. Sorry, boo-boo, dead already. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make if I come back? You can't call me on a cell phone. Where are you? It doesn't matter. I don't want you to know. And when I do, my lawyer will contact you. How about that? Because they're going to have to deal with me sooner or later, one way or another. They just can't write me off. Oh, she disappeared into the States. She's a runaway slave. Can't find that one. Put out her what is that called? You know, when your poster. Wanted. Reward. Right? Crook of the year. Right? Get the slave trade out hunting me down. Right? Dead or alive? Bring me back dead or alive? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. There's a story for you. Yeah. Here's a fucking story for you. Can't drag my ass back. What you gonna do? Lock me up, detain me? Make me stay here in this stinking country so I can have 26-year-olds boss me around? Yeah, okay, I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. A 4-year-old son that's ungrateful for anything that I've ever done for him, screaming at me it's all my fault that he has to look after Amari now because Tisha won't. Well, you, whatever. Put him in foster care. That's what those social workers want anyway, because that's kickbacks, right? And money in the bank when it comes to illegal organ harvesting. Don't say I didn't warn you. Why do I want to stick around and watch that shit happen and go down? No, 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 no. I'd rather be on the other side of the fence and try and fight to stop it from happening. Yeah, yeah. Bring in some real professionals here. Not wannabe lawyers sitting up in here in Canada faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, faking the freaking funk. Yeah. Yeah, acting like lawyers, but they're not lawyers. They're all cowards out here. They're all bought and paid for with their crooked judges. Yeah. Yeah. Blind. You're blind. Well, yeah, you can't go. Yes, I can. You think I want to stay here? Wait to be slapped around more? Whether whether literally or figuratively? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. You can have it all. I don't care. What I care about is my grandkids. That's what I care about. Sticking around being abused and a doormat and a dog people can kick around town. That's not good for my grandkids. No, it's not going to get my grandkids anywhere in life except abuse themselves. Like I said, once Amari turns 19 years old, these do-gooders are going to drop him like a hot freaking potato. They don't even go to... They have no conscience. No. No, they don't. So, I'm going to have to tap in to figuring this out somewhere else. Yeah. Yep, I'm definitely going to do my homework on this one. And maybe get my ducks in order. Yeah. Maybe get my ducks in order. See, I'm not worried about Amari because God knew what he was doing when he made Andre. Let's leave it on that one. But I should extend on that. In the event that they come in, those women with the black nail polish, and take Amari and bankrupt the house where I can't meet the bills, whether it's the credit cards, the rent, the hydro, the gas, whatever it is I'm expected to go to court in a funky one at that and fight for my grandson against corruption. It's not going to go down like that. That's when I'll walk away. Because it's all going to fall apart anyway. Yeah. Because they don't appreciate Andre. Not in the least. Because he's just another tool to manipulate the situation. Right? In terms of, if I leave before the shit hits the fan, I know Amari will be fine because Andre is here. But if they take Amari and then the shit hits the fan and leave Andre with nothing except for a house that's falling apart because we can't meet the bills, because we're all now scrambling, fighting for Amari, well, I'd leave. I'd leave. And I'd fight to have Amari and Andre be sent. I said, Andre, how would you feel if you ended up in the States? He said, that'd be fine with me now. I'd like that. But this is the crap that they make you think about. Yeah. And if you think I'm the only person in this country that's being told to get rid of their belongings so they can downsize you before you even move into a smaller place that you're going to be paying 3 times more for and still not be able to live up to their expectations? Well, you might decide to take drastic measures too. Maybe, maybe not. But when you've got nothing to lose because it's been taking, it all being taken away from you, a little here, a little there, and they still want more, and give me more, and give me more. I'm taking. Well, there comes a time when you just have to walk away on principle and stand up for yourself and make a stand. Yeah. And once you make that stand, don't come back. They take Amari and I don't see him for 6. If they think I'm going to go to some office to go have a little visit with Amari, with him crying for me to take him home, they got another thing coming. It ain't going down like that. If I walk away, no, I didn't abandon him, because guarantee you I will be fighting the good fight in American court with the Canadian lawyers, with an American lawyer. One way or another, it will happen. Yeah, you can't just write me off and think I died in the bayou. Oh, what happened to Nana? Oh, she just died in the bayou. An alligator ate her. An alligator ate her up. Had her chomping on Nana. We seen her foot. Right? Okay. The slave hunters haven't caught her yet, so she must have, I don't know, maybe she went to Iceland or something. Maybe she got on some boat, was a stowaway. Who knows? It will always be a mystery. Right? Yeah. It ain't gonna be 22 times in court sitting up in Canada. Maybe 22 times in court sitting up in the United States, but not in Canada.